You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Black and White sports fans, we got a special video for you guys. We are shooting this one together. I found out about this yesterday, and I text Rhodes, and I was like, Rhodes, I think we should shoot this one together. This would actually be pretty fun because we were just live not long ago on the Matrix and Roadshow channel. But as you guys know, Russell Westbrook does not want to be called Westbrick anymore. He considers that absolutely to be disrespectful. Rhodes, how do you actually feel about that? Because I did that video. I don't know what your take was on that, just briefly.
Well, look, shoot better.
Yeah.
How about you shoot better? You're a notoriously terrible shooter. You're a notoriously terrible shooter.
Yeah, at this point in his career, man, that's not going to change.
Your efficiency rates are horrible. They always have been. Every team you go to, guess what they don't do if you don't have Kevin Durant? They don't win. None of them. They don't win. Okay?
Yep.
He could be actually the most overrated superstar in any sport in the last, 10 years maybe? Russell Westbrook. Because look, the mainstream media, there was about an 8-year period where he was celebrated across every sports debate show on a daily basis. You had the great bulk of everybody was celebrating Russell Westbrook. Why? Oh, he was a triple-double machine. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah, he won an MVP for that, and he should have won it. They robbed James Harden of that MVP and gave it to him. And then he averaged a triple-double the next, 2-3 seasons? He didn't get any MVP votes.
Right.
Because they didn't translate the wins. Even though I think Anthony Davis is probably right up there as one of the most overrated players in sports, the last decade. But I digress.
But people don't talk about Anthony Davis. Let's be honest. Russell Westbrook was at the forefront. I mean, you would turn it on First Take. You would turn it on Undisputed. Russell Westbrook was coming up every single day of the NBA season. Oh, he had another triple-double last night. He had another triple-double. And you know what? Guess who was one of the few people that would call him out? Skip Bayless.
Yep.
Let's be real.
Yep. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, guys, because there seems to be some beef over there at Fox Sports. Skip Bayless, as you know, likes to call Russell Westbrook Russell Westbrick. And now we're in the era of sensitive sports. These athletes today are so soft. Now, Doug Gottlieb, man, and what's funny, man? The woke will eat the woke. They will eat it. The woke sports media will eat each other alive. And now, guys, Doug Gottlieb has went after Skip Bayless and compared him to your favorite president, Donald J. Trump. Here it is, guys. I wish I was actually making this up, but I'm not. Doug Gottlieb slammed Skip Bayless for being too much like Trump. You shouldn't be a name caller. Now, me and Rhodes were briefly touching on this, Rhodes. What did we say before we went live on this? We said that sports athletes have been called names for how long?
As long as I can remember. I can recall my earliest sports moments, like where I'm really following the day-to-day sports conversation, probably down around 12 years old. So whoever was on TV at that time, way back in the days of, back Keith Olbermann, Dan Patrick, and probably a couple of years beforehand, going back to the original sports reporters, the Mike Albums and Bob Ryan and all those kind of guys, Mike Lupica. These guys having nicknames for shoddy performances and being shoddy players has been a thing ever since I can remember anybody debating sports, talking sports back and forth. Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. It's not new. It's got nothing to do with Trump. I mean, come on.
I believe he probably said this just to bring up Trump here. Because if he can go after Skip Bayless, he can go after Rob Parker. Rob Parker has, what is he called, Tom Brady? The Lote. Or he makes up all these names, luckiest of all time. And
Pat Stafford.
Pat Stafford, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this has been going on forever. Magic Johnson, 84 NBA Finals, tragic Johnson. Shaquille O'Neal calling the Sacramento Kings the Sacramento Queens. I'm surprised nobody's ever called him a misogynist for that statement, but, you know.
Well, not only that, but we are talking about athletes, testosterone-driven athletes. I mean, come on. These athletes get on the court, especially in basketball, well, in football too. They get some of the most heinous shit said back and forth to them between players. I mean,
Draymond Green called LeBron James a bitch in the NBA Finals, and nobody criticized him for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've heard of players saying things about people's wives, about their sisters, about their mothers. And I'm not talking about just some, one little remark. I'm talking about some heinous, specific things about their sisters, their mothers. And that's been going on forever. Come on.
Remember The Last Dance? What did Michael Jordan tell Larry Bird in The Last Dance? I can't remember the exact words that he said, but I think he called him a bitch too, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did.
Continuously. Lawrence Taylor used to massacre people verbally before he destroyed them.
Old school players were not triggered by any of this.
No.
These athletes now are soft, and now the media, I guess Doug Gottlieb has started something new now. But this is what he said here, man. This is pretty ridiculous here, what he said about Skip Bayless here. But actually a little bit of backstory here. It says on his Tuesday radio show, Gottlieb discussed Russell Westbrook's resentment after being shouted by fans as West Brick, a jeer meant to mock the point guard's head-scratching shooting woes. He can't shoot. It's just that simple. Bayless is notorious for his name-calling, previously calling LeBron James Drama King and Queen James. Well, I think we got a better name. I think LaChina James sounds a whole bunch better, but that's just us. Skip Bayless needs to step up your game. While similarly insulting Chris Bosh as Bosh Spice, this year, the Fox Sports hot take artist also made West Brick one of his favorite quips. But he's been calling him West Brick for years. That's not just this year. Yeah.
That's not new. He's been calling him that before Trump was ever elected.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Let's be real. Yeah.
Yeah. And guess what? Name calling has been going around long before Donald Trump. But he says this, quote, I understand he works for Fox Sports, Gottlieb said. I understand he makes a ton of money. I think it's disgraceful what Skip Bayless has done. You can't normalize this behavior, Gottlieb said of Bayless's name calling. It's a lot like the Trump conversation. You can tell me whatever you want about his politics, but the way in which he would speak to people, treat people, handle sensitive information was not that of the president of the United States is unacceptable. If you're going to make a reported 6 million or whatever he makes to be on TV, you know what you shouldn't be? You shouldn't be a name caller, Gottlieb said of Bayless. What are you doing? You're 70 years old. You've been covering sports your entire life. You don't call people names. You can say he's a terrible shooter. So that is the words of Doug Gottlieb right there. What else did he say? He said something else here. Don't call people's names. It's not that hard. Let's just grow up a bit. Well, this is so beta, man.
That is some beta ass shit. And look, there's a reason why Skip Bayless makes all that money, and somebody like Doug Gottlieb is relegated to fill in when Colin Cowherd is sick. Okay.
Well, also the way Skip Bayless grew up with his parents as alcoholics, man, Skip Bayless was molded hard as a rock.
He's very hard. Yeah.
He is very, very hardcore that way. Now, Skip Bayless says he's not political, but he listens to Shannon Sharp, which is a problem in itself, but Skip Bayless is old school. He's old school. So if he wants to call, like, we don't get triggered. We get called names all the time. I read the comments. Are we triggered? No, we're not. Russell Westbrook is triggered. I'm not triggered. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want, because the only way you win is if those words actually affect me. And words do not affect me. And now Skip Bayless knows that he has beaten down Russell Westbrook because he knows now that Westbrook is a trigger for him.
Well, look, the only way that Doug Gottlieb can get any headlines here is to go after Skip Bayless. Otherwise, nobody would really probably care about Doug Gottlieb's take if you want to know the honest to God's truth. And you went after Skip Bayless, and on top of that, you reach for the low-hanging fruit of let me bash Trump, because I know that will also land me in an article for awful announcing. And maybe my sports radio ratings will go up. You know what Doug Gottlieb is? He is the sports equivalent of a rhino. Because honestly,
that's probably a good analogy.
He's a Republican. He is. He has been for years. But you know what, man? But he's a fence straddler for years. He goes out there and he'll hammer somebody on being woke. And then next thing you know, he turns around and does something like this. Well, let me bring Trump into it.
Well, you know
in other words, you're getting desperate.
That's why having an R or a D in front of your name is meaningless.
That's right.
That's why it's meaningless right there. I mean, Mitt Romney has an R in front of his name. He doesn't align with my values.
You know what? Trump and Skip Bayless both have something in common. They take care of business unapologetically. And you know what? Still are wildly popular because of that.
Yeah.
No holds barred.
Skip Bayless,
take care of business.
Skip Bayless is the #1 draw on sports debate shows because that's just the way he is. I mean, I think it's a good comparison, man, that Skip Bayless is the equivalent of Donald Trump when it comes to the sports media. They are very, very similar in the way that they actually talk about people.
Skip Bayless on his YouTube channel, and this just tell you how hard Skip Bayless is. He's got a YouTube channel. It's really good. Okay.
Yeah, it is good.
He talks about personal things. When he met Ernestine, his wife, he told her up front, you will always be number two to sports.
Bro, dude, you know what would happen to me if I told my wife she'll always be number 2?
Man, I pick my face up off the floor.
Man, it'll be over. Over. But Skip Bayless is completely dedicated to doing what he does. I mean, this man is 70 years old, man, but this guy takes care of his body, man. I believe he said he has not missed a day of cardio since like 1997. This man is completely committed to doing what he's doing. Nobody's accusing this man of being lazy. Now, Doug Gottlieb, man, you had many, many years to come out and say, hey, we shouldn't be calling people names. But why you waiting till now? Rob Parker has actually said probably worse stuff. And his takes are way worse, by the way. Stephen A. Smith has made a living also on calling people names. I mean, he's trashed the Knicks. Who else is he trashed? Man, Stephen A. has some really, really interesting nicknames for people as well. Can't think of them off the top of my head right now.
Doug Gottlieb has always, in my opinion, and look, I've listened to the guy a lot. I have. Most of the time, he never channels political narratives at all. It's not part of his game. But what's also not part of his game is he's not willing to go far enough in order to succeed at the level of people like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. He's a fence straddler. The worst place to be is somebody with a middle-of-the-road take. Mm-hmm. And that's what Doug Gottlieb is, and that's why he is always regulated to not being on TV unless he's filling in for somebody, and he's regulated to a time slot during the day that, I'm going to be honest with you, nobody's driving home from work. Nobody's driving to work. The listeners just aren't there for Doug Gottlieb. That's the way it's always been.
Rhodes, I can't think of a Doug Gottlieb video I've made. We made a ton of Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith videos. Why? Because they are relevant. People actually listen to their take. Nobody cares about Doug Gottlieb. Now he wants to pull this. Now he wants to pull this.
Yep.
Now I know that we rag on the sports media, we really, really do. But for him to go out there and say, hey, we can't call people names is ridiculous because the players are calling each other names all the time. They are. But that's just our thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this, Black and White Sports fans? Any other final words, Rhodes?
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
Good little short video here, guys. We're doing this Hodge twin style.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Damn
guys,
good show. A damn good show.
That was a damn good show. We like the Hodge twins. But
yeah.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. And make sure you subscribe to Black and White Sports. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.